Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Am I live? Can you hear me? Can somebody confirm? 5 viewers. Let me just check on my. Yep, and it looks like I'm live. Okay, cool. Well, you'll see I'm starting the show with a cigarette today. Because things have got like heavy, I guess, in a short space of time. This show's got nothing to do with MetaNet. Because I don't know, I guess some people who have probably just started watching my stuff or whatever think, oh, this is just a guy with an axe to grind against MetaNet. Which is wrong. A lot of my proof of work, where I used to spend a lot of time on live streams with Captain Bitcoin on the Bitcoin SV channel, went and got lost when the Bitcoin SV channel got shut down for talking about that crown virus thing. You know what I'm talking about, the thing that was all over the media before looting was. I probably took part in 100 episodes, lots of time for free to Bitcoin, because that's what I've always been about, truth, finding truth. One of the reasons I actually got into Bitcoin is probably similar to a lot of you, was the whole, when you realized after 2001, when you watched the World Trade Centers fall down, and then you saw some of you who stayed up glued to the TV, and you saw World Trade Center 7 fall down, and you realize that nobody was really talking about that. They probably replayed it once or twice the next day, and then that was it, I don't want to get too much into 9/11, but it seems pretty obvious to me that it was a conspiracy, and that's what got me down the conspiracy hole. Where, I mean, if I look at my the time I spent on the internet investigating things or watching documentaries or doing stuff that at least I guess is educational, it's not like sitting watching a movie or watching Netflix, I'd say that probably right now most of my time, only probably like 51% of it, or less than that, probably 40% of it has been looking into Bitcoin and getting involved in Bitcoin. And obviously that's increasing, because really these days all I do in my internet time, online investigative time, is looking into Bitcoin, which generally is looking at the tech. Then it's probably 9/11, but that's tapered off as I realized, that people don't give a shit, basically. It's like Deke Jackson from the fucking news said, if you think 9/11's an inside job, you're probably right, but who gives a fuck? I mean, that's what it's got down to. And then, of course, we've got the latest one or whatever, big one, which was a Las Vegas shooting. That seems very dodgy to me, but it seems like every generation or whatever, there's a new thing going on. Well, no, the latest one, of course, is Epstein. And then probably I know quite a lot about JFK as well. I got into the whole JFK thing after 9/11, even though I was aware of, I'm a patsy, Lee Harvey Oswald, before 9/11. But when you look at 9/11, and then you got into looking at all these conspiracy videos, which told you that for the first time, which left you truly shocked, was it Aaron Russo's America, Freedom to Fascism, a guy who died a few years after making the video, where he told everybody that, of course, it was in books and stuff before, but having never been down that hole, I never realized that the Federal Reserve was a private entity, and it explained about, how that was money. Then you watched Bill Steele. Now, most people don't know who Bill Steele is. You should watch him. He's probably the only journalist I actually respect these days. He's on YouTube, tiny view base. Bill Steele is the guy who made the Money Masters, that 4-hour-long documentary, which explains the history of money. There was a dumb cartoon made, which is quite good as well, made by somebody else, which does it in a cartoon fashion in like 20 minutes. But Bill Steele was the man who made the Money Masters, and that was, like, to me, a big eye-opener. And of course, all these things. And then Bitcoin came along, and looking at Bitcoin, it was like, wow, you know, this fixes a lot of these problems. You know, the whole idea of getting rid of the ability to inflate money and all this stuff, taking it out of the hands of the banksters was wow. So anyway, moving on, we're coming to Bcash, moving on, we're coming to Bitcoin SV, which people who don't really know about crypto won't know that there are some people, some crazies maybe, you might say, like me, who think that Bitcoin SV is Bitcoin, and everything else has just been a hijack of the original protocol. And then we get into Craig Wright, and we get into his claims of being Satoshi Nakamoto. We get into an exciting court drama starting out in Florida, in Miami, Florida, with Judge Reinhardt and stuff. And from there, it kind of goes downhill because Craig promised us that he would teach the world all about law and all this stuff. And this year, he seems to have had a massive ass kicking in court. And I've always said, like, the last few times I've spoken about it, I mean, I made a live stream just over a week ago, I think, before this whole MetaNet thing kicked off, this MetaNet gate, which is another thing. Again, looking for truth and not being afraid to say what you think. And it kind of got boring, and I made a video saying it's all boring, I'm bored of the trial, I'm not reading anymore because it's boring, and it's just going on and on and on and on and on. And I'm also getting bored, and fuck it, I'm not here to make friends. Satoshi, your channel's boring. All you do is talk about the same things, talking about trying to pump the price of Bitcoin, the same show every day, talking about shit coins and insulting the other coins, pumping up Bitcoin, going through your articles where maybe you know quite a lot about the finances, but tech level is very low. People aren't interested. That's why you've got low view counts, because people want the truth and stuff, you know. It's boring saying Bcash is a shit coin, Bitcoin is BSV, Satoshi Nakamoto is Craig Wright. Because I think most people, if you ask them in BSV, honestly, they probably say, I haven't got a clue. Or they probably say, I'm starting to think he's not Craig Wright. And I said, I've got no shame. I said on air, just to be politically correct, I said 51% rather than on the fence. I'm 51% sure he's Craig Wright. That's what I said. Whereas a year ago, I was 99% sure that he was Craig Wright. So I feel like I've been Aspergered a hell of a lot. Also, the guys from CoinGeek, all of you guys, every single BSV media guy, apart from maybe Michael Hudson, who's not a BSV media guy, are boring. Trump's a good guy. Trump, at least, he doesn't got time for all this conspiracy nonsense, but at least he asks guests uncomfortable questions and stuff. But everybody else, they're all ass licking, they're all in a circle jerk, they're all just ass licking and circle jerking other developers and their products and stuff. No, you know, always trying to make BSV look positive. Nobody's interested in looking for the truth. Nobody's interested in talking about the truth. Nobody's interested in talking about bad news. You know, that's why there's so little content these days from BSV creators. I mean, Shem said, "Shall I come back?" I left a message saying how he should come back, because he said, "Shall I change some things?" And I left a message on Twitter, public message, saying what he should change. Don't know if he's going to be back. He says he's busy. I hope he's back. I hope he comes back. But if you look at all the BSV channels, their output, their content has gone down. Why has it gone down? Because there isn't any good BSV news these days. My content has gone up because I want to get involved in all this, because I still love Bitcoin, as in BSV. I'm still very interested in Bitcoin. There's nowhere else for me to go other than arranging with Elon Musk or somebody really rich to fork this coin off and get rid of all these fuckers and all these weaklings in the space. Even if that means Craig Wright himself, if he is fake Toshi, to keep the technology going, because BSV's got the best technology. But yeah, so where am I going? Where are we? Okay, so yeah, as I said, I've been bored of the trial and all this stuff. And I was actually having a nap, which I've not had for a while, a nap in in the evening, but I had a nap, and I woke up and I grabbed a coffee, and I went to my Twitter, and I saw a post from Zectro, who I don't think Zectro is Greg Maxwell. I think some people are saying he's a guy who used to work at N-Chain, or like a guy who's turned against BSV. I don't know who he is. It doesn't matter who he is. Let's say he's Greg Maxwell if it makes you happy. He's a guy who's been posting stuff for a long time, anti-BSV, calling Craig fake Toshi, and some of the stuff's quite interesting. I guess most BSV folks have him blocked because, you know, people like to circle jerk and lock themselves into bubbles on BSV. I have got 0 blocks on Twitter. I block nobody. Somebody can troll the fuck out of me and I won't block them because I just don't agree with it. I think it's funny having all sorts of input whenever you make a post, if it causes discussion and argument and stuff, and I don't want to force any views or viewpoints onto anybody. So anyway, I went to his feed, and I didn't, apparently he tells me now that he knew, but I didn't know that he knew. I just saw like he posted a page, a screenshot from some testimony from Craig Wright. Let me find it just to be exact. Hold on a second. This is it. I see if I can post it in the troll box so you can all look. It's coming now. Come on. Always goes a bit slow when you're live streaming. Just grab a quick hallucinogenic drink. Got to keep these drugs in the system. You know, because I'm starting to question a hell of a lot of things now. Come on, what the hell is going on with Twitter? Oh, it's already on the other page. I've already got it here. So I just need to click there. Maybe Hillary Clinton has actually started bringing my connection down. Okay. Yeah, okay, so we've got some testimony from Craig. I'll just start into it. I did not say one of them is Dave. And this is the question that I'm not sure it's the prosecution or the judge or whatever. I guess it's the prosecution. Who are the 2 people that helped you set everything up, Dr. White? And Craig says, Wing Commander Don Lynham, Order of Australia, #1. The other person works, and it says .. So they interrupted him. Sorry, I did not catch that. Please repeat #1. Who is #1? Wing Commander Donald Lynham, Australia Air Force, retired. Who is #2? This is his answer. #2 is a former GCHQ. That's government central headquarters. These are the guys, I think they're on Biggin Hill or something. These are the guys, this is the big dome building. These are the NSA, if you like, of the United Kingdom. So #2 is a former GCHQ, MI6, which is CIA, I guess, similar, operative who was killed by Russian agents who was working on the tracking of basically money laundering funds that I helped and talked to before his death here in the UK, named Gareth. Now, reading that, you might think, well, okay, you would imagine some old guy who worked in MI6 called Gareth who died. Yeah, but let's carry on. What is Gareth's last name? And Craig answers, am I allowed to answer these sort of things? Question. And Mr. Rivero, who says, Dr. Wright, I think this has already been ruled on by the court. I'm pretty sure this was ruled on by the court. And so I think you have to answer. I'm not instructing you not to answer. And the answer is, he went by Williams. Mr. Freedom says, Gareth Williams. And the answer, that is one name he used. And the question is, so Dr. Wright, you were a super spy for the government. Now I was kind of like just waking up. And as soon as I saw that word Gareth Williams, I thought, fuck. Because not many people are going to know who Gareth Williams is. You go around the UK and ask, do you know about a guy called Gareth Williams who was a spy, who's dead now? And everyone would be like, no, who's this Gareth Williams guy? But if you said to everybody, maybe who's older than 30, do you remember the news story about the spy who was found dead inside a bag a padlocked bag inside his own flat, decomposing with the key under his body. Most people would probably say, yeah, I remember that story. Probably wouldn't really know what happened or not been investigated, but people would remember it. Well, that was Gareth Williams. You can go and search in Google, Gareth Williams. Well, let me just post the link to Zettro's testimony. But anyway, obviously the first thing I did was think, fuck, you know. And I started thinking, well, things are starting to make sense to me. Why Craig has been losing so hard. Because there's so many shenanigans going on. And someone said, well, you know, Craig's just use this name because he knows it's somebody who's dead who can't respond. But I don't think, I think it'd be very dangerous in any sort of court testimony to throw out names of dead people, because yeah, dead people can't speak, but there's always those around them and stuff that can speak. And okay, yeah, it was a very famous case. I'm sure Craig and everybody else knew about this case, whether they knew Gareth Williams or not. But I think it's a very dangerous game to just start throwing names out about dead people and stuff, because you could all get yourselves involved in all sorts of weird things. So yeah, if you look at Gareth Williams, let's load his article up on Wikipedia. Of course, Wikipedia, if you load up the 9/11 article on Wikipedia, it's going to tell you that it was done by Al-Qaeda and all this stuff. Of course, Wikipedia is not a source of truth, far from it. But as a basic overview of the known facts, you know, it's like anything else. It's there, but obviously you can go down a massive conspiracy hole on Gareth Williams. And of course, you know, you're going to find a load of shit and a load of stuff, and you have to make your own conclusion. But this is starting to make sense to me. This freaked me out. I'll be honest, my heart started racing, thinking, fuck. And I thought that Zetro didn't know who Gareth Williams was. So I kind of like said, do you know who this guy is? I was on Twitter. It's all there in public on his feed and stuff. And you know, I was like thinking, shit, you know, because I've always wondered about this guy. What happened to him? So who was Gareth Williams? Well, he was born on September 1978, and he died, it says C, so that means around 16th of August 2010. Nobody knows when the guy died because the heating was turned on in his flat and his body decomposed quicker than normal. So there's only an estimate. Well, he was a Welsh mathematician. Apparently he was like a genius. He was like Alan Turing, if you like. You know Alan Turing, the guy who solved the Enigma code back in World War II. This was sort of like a guy of the similar ilk. He was so good that at a very young age he started working for the spooks, and he was found dead in suspicious circumstances, it says, at a security service safe house flat in Pimlico, London, on the 23rd of August 2010. So they said he died around the 16th of August, found dead 23rd of August. So that's what, a week. So imagine the state of a body after a week if the heating's turned up to the max in your flat. The inquest found that his death was unnatural and likely to have been criminally meditated. And the Metropolitan Police, they did a reinvestigation and they concluded that his death was probably an accident, which is probably bullshit. And here they're saying it's suspected that he was killed by Russian assassins on British soil. Remember that case with the Russians poisoning those two Russian guys? Was it in Cheltenham or somewhere where the two Russian guys were seen on video and they tried to kill that guy and his daughter, tried to kill, I think it was an ex-Russian spy living in England, and so a woman died as well because her and her partner I think they were homeless or they were drug addicts or something. They managed to get in contact with whatever poison, whatever hazardous material that it was that was attempted to be used. So there is a lot of Russians killing by Russians going on in the UK. And two senior British police sources have said some of Williams' work was focused on Russia. And one confirmed reports that he had been helping the NSA trace international money laundering routes that were used by Moscow-based mafia cells. Okay, so it's, you know, I've always felt like this case, I've always felt like sad for his parents, you know. The guy was working for the state. So you'd think somebody loyal to the state, working to the state would at least try and find out what happened for the sake of his parents. Guy was not a conventional guy. I think he was, they found like thousands and thousands of pounds worth of women's clothes in his flat. I think he was gay. I think he was a transvestite or transex. You know, I don't know. He didn't have a very conventional life, aside from the fact that he was a spook. But he was a genius. That's why he was. He graduated with a first class degree at age 17, and the GCHQ gave him a job basically straight away. So you imagine what sort of genius this guy was, and why the British equivalent of the NSA had him working for them at such a young age. You can find out more about his. They tried to, because it says here on Wikipedia in 2010 he'd been visiting bondage websites. So you know, this is how long the NSA or the GCHQ has records on your internet. They can see all you've been doing. So they said they'd been visiting bondage websites, and then some neighbours, of course you can never trust any of this stuff, but some neighbours said that once they had to come and rescue him because he had tied himself to a bed. And then of course there's a whole thing about experts were called in to see if somehow he had managed to accidentally lock himself into a bag. And it says they tried 400 times, experts did, I guess like Houdini type characters. They tried 400 times and they couldn't do it. So it's pretty obvious. The basic conclusion was that it's very probable that he was killed by a couple, a man and a woman, who were seen on CCTV. But the problem is because the body was found so long after, well, a week after that, or perhaps more than a week, you know, it's around that time that he died. They don't really know. A lot of CCTV evidence and stuff would have been deleted, would have overwritten itself. But the last there was on it really was that they were looking for a couple, and it was suggested that he'd been put into the bag. Certainly wasn't put into the bag involuntarily. So, because, you know, you can imagine there'd be all sorts of marks and stuff, and he would be scratch marks from the inside and stuff if he was trying to get out and escape. So he was probably drugged with some sort of drug that doesn't leave a trace or something and put into the bag, or he probably willingly got into the bag as part of some sex game, probably with a guy. I think that was his leanings. And I'm guessing it says like in a few minutes you can start to go unconscious because of the lack of the air in such a bag. So something went on where he ended up in the bag in a weird position, with the key underneath his body, and yeah, that's what happened to him. That's, you know, go and investigate. There's probably a hell of a lot more out there. But one thing that is weird, because I remember reading about this, I remember looking into it a little bit, you know, like you do. There's people who are interested in, who find things weird and stuff. And I was kind of thinking, you know, this is weird, but I never, ever associated it with Bitcoin. Don't know why. I never did. You know, I know the guy was a math genius, but I never associated this with Bitcoin. And now it gets even stranger. Again, you go and look at my Twitter. I'll post the link. I posted the chat. Some anonymous person, always when a source or anybody, whether it's about anything, gets in touch with me saying, you know, if they're an obvious anon, somebody I've never spoken to before, who gets in touch with me. Even if somebody said, you know, even if it's somebody I knew, you know, who said, hey, Jimmy, keep this quiet, keep this anonymous. And they sent me some stuff in a private message. I wouldn't reveal the name because that's how trust works. You don't reveal your sources. Here's another link for you. Got a message from somebody because, you know, I thought, well, this is interesting, but, you know, I don't really want to get down this hole of conspiracies and stuff because I've been here so many times. And I'm getting too old for all this shit. But I got a message from somebody, anon, from nowhere on Telegram, saying court listener document 550, attachments 4 and 37, very juicy stuff in the second one. Now I saw that, but I kind of like thought, who the fuck's this? I thought it's probably somebody I know. So I responded, moo, which is a Nigerian insult, which is the best way to get rid of Nigerian scammers when they contact you. Then I thought, oh wait, hang on, you're not a Nigerian scammer. You have someone passing me info. Didn't really have time to read it because I looked at the documents, they're like 200 pages. I'm not going to go and sit there reading a 200-page document. TLDR. They give me the page number 98. And here we go. Let's go and have a look at page 98. What does it say? Here I am on 38. Let's go down to 98. Hang on, I'm looking at the wrong document here. Let me go back to the link. Hang on a second, folks. Like I said, this is totally unprepared. Not a professional show here. You know, everyone's in BSW says you have to be professional. You know, everyone gets their scripts or makes their scripts about what they're going to do. I find something out, I go and make a coffee or go and have a shit, and then I come back and just do it. You know, my idea now is not to go and tell you all the facts and tell you everything about this because I'm nowhere near an expert in what's going on. My idea is just to get the news out here, this connection out here, and telling people, get digging, start looking at this, because, you know, I haven't got all the time in the world to do it. I've got so many things going on and so much shit to do, but whatever people find, if they're too scared to post it, there's a lot of people are scared of the Clintons. A lot of people are scared of getting involved in this stuff. Let me know about it. I don't care. Make a video, a live stream. Let me go down to page 98. Where are we? Oh, dear. 96, 97. Here we go, 98. Let me just post this court listener document here as well. I've not even looked at the other one yet. I need to because, you know. Well, no, you guys look at it and tell me what you find, because I'm not, you know, I haven't got time. Maybe Sean Atwood can look at some of this stuff. Sean, I've always been a fan of Sean. I've been watching Sean religiously ever since the Epstein thing broke, apart from for the last week, because the last week I've not been watching any of my things, whether it's a favorite comedy show, whether it's all these truth things and stuff, because of all this riot porn. That's all I've been watching. Doing my videos and stuff and watching riot porn. No time for anything else. So here we are. Where am I? Hang on. I'm getting confused here. I've got to set up a professional broadcasting thing just to share screens and stuff. Okay, so here we are. Page 98 of the PDF, but it's page 486. Of the document. Dr. Wright, you participated in video conference with David Kleiman while you were in New York sometime in 2011, correct? Yes. An individual by the name of Gareth Williams, this is that guy again, was at the meeting. Is that correct? He wasn't at the meeting. Where was Gareth Williams? He was in the UK. He was participating via video conference, question. Well, it was not really video conference, but electronic means. What were the means? We use technical solutions that aren't actually a video conference. Is this Asperger's thing again? I'm guessing maybe it's something like what Snowden does when he wants to speak to the world by video. I mean, I don't know, was it or not a video conference? Maybe it's some sort of video conference over various VPN tunnels or something. I don't know. Maybe it was something heavy. You know, this guy's a spy and he gets up in the bag and he's involved in all of this. I imagine his VPN to hell doing this stuff. We use technical solutions that aren't actually a video conference. Okay, and is that the same way Dave Kleiman participated? Yes. And Mr. Williams was in the UK? Yes. You were in New York? Yes. Is that correct? Yes. And David Kleiman was in Florida? To the best of my knowledge, yes. Where in New York were you? I don't remember the name of the hotel. What was the purpose of your trip? I was on my way to Venezuela. What were you going to do in Venezuela? I was doing forensic work. For who? I was doing forensic work with a group associated with ICE. We were tracking movement of money associated with FARC and FARC-V. What is ICE? ICE is customs enforcement here in the US. Actually, isn't it immigration? I don't know, I'm not an expert, but ICE always associated with immigration and stuff. But yeah, customs, I guess. Was there anyone else at the meeting between you and Mr. Williams and Dave Kleiman? No. How long did the meeting last? Less than half an hour. What was the purpose of the meeting? I was discussing tracking of SWIFT-based assets. That SWIFT is the banking system. That's how they send bank transfers. And Mr. Williams also had, Mr. Williams, now this is the interesting part, Mr. Williams had a theory that a number of Russian oligarchs and Mr. Clinton had a relationship. What was that relationship? He believed that Putin was funding the Clintons. Okay. Are we living in a reality, folks? What's going on? The Clintons. Billy, whose brother got sent to jail for cocaine. Billy, who they said had a nose like a Hoover for cocaine. Of course, Hillary Clinton, the woman say eats baby, drinks baby's blood and all this stuff. Spirit cooking, Marina Ambrovich, is it? Ambrovich or something like that. Jesus Christ, Pizzagate. What the fuck are we going on? I thought I said Pizzagate. That's it. Now I might as well say coronavirus. Now I'm censored from YouTube. Where the hell are we going, folks? What's going on? Now I know we had BSV tards like Elliot saying, you know, there was a connection earlier on with the with Epstein, who of course he killed himself, didn't he, folks? There was a connection earlier on with Epstein, which I kind of wrote off because they were saying Epstein's Jewish, Kleiman's Jewish, Val Friedman, who's one of the lawyers for Kleiman, is Jewish. Judge Reinhardt is Jewish. They all live in Florida. They all go to the same synagogue. There must be some conspiracy of Jews at this synagogue. And I was like, hang on. Wow, big conspiracy there, folks. Jews who live in the same town go to the same synagogue. But this is where we were, you know, trying to get shit from anywhere. So I was like, you know, I wrote it all off. You know, this is all books. But now you get into this stuff, it's like, well, what's going on? This is more than just Jews going to the same synagogue. This is a guy dying in a suitcase. And also, yeah, I forgot to mention when the CIA and GCHQ, no, the FBI it was, sorry, and GCHQ, they both made like special orders at the inquest of this guy to withhold information, folks. Yeah, this never really happens, but they did it and it was withheld. We're not going to know all about this guy, Gareth Williams, because I don't know what the hell the USA has to do with British inquests, especially after that woman from that base whose husband was a diplomat. She killed a guy, didn't she? This has nothing to do with any of this, by the way, but it's just an example. A guy, I can't remember where it was, got run over by a wife of a diplomat. She left the country and the USA basically saying, fuck you. You can't have her back in the UK to face trial. So, you know, seems like in this relationship that they speak about, the great relationship of the USA and the UK, there's, you know, we know who the bitch is in this whole relationship. It's the UK. So, you know, the idea that the USA, the CIA or FBI or whoever can say, hey, you're not reporting this. Shut up about this in this guy's inquest. And it happens. They don't speak about it. So there's a big cover up. There's something going on there. And yeah, so here we are. Is this guy Gareth Williams? Does it all come back? Because they say that, oh yeah, let's carry on a little bit for this document because there's a bit more information here. What was the relationship? This is the relationship between Clinton and the Russian oligarchs. He believed that Putin was funding the Clintons. And how did that involve you? I helped train Mr. Williams. Who was Mr. Williams? Mr. Williams was formerly of MI6. He was of GCHQ. He was an operative involved in the tracing of monetary funds between different European countries over SWIFT. Okay, so now it's like Craig helped train Gareth Williams, the spy who dies in a bag. Is this a Five Eyes thing because Craig's Australian, or is it some sort of private training? I don't know. How much of this is Asperger's? I mean, the whole thing, it's like, well, what's going on, you know? So Putin's involved. I always thought it was weird that, you know, blame the opposition of doing what you yourself are doing. You know, this whole Donald Trump friend of Putin stuff, when we all know that if you look at uranium, the uranium thing, I think it was Clinton who sold like, I don't know, 90% of the uranium reserves of the United States to Putin. You remember the US reset? But then here they have been LARPing the last few years, saying that Russia stole the election and all this stuff, because, you know, it really surprised them, the election of Donald Trump. You know, it's QAnon now. What do we do? I forgot to add QAnon to my video title. I mean, come on. This is so crazy, folks. The only thing I can do is just publish it, tag Hillary Clinton, let her know that jimmynlose is looking into her, and appeal to people to start connecting dots. I don't mean these flat earth idiots. I mean people who, you know, who do kind of like always take the generally take the Occam's razor point of view to stuff, even though they, you know, they probably, you know, who am I to judge? You know, anybody who wants to get involved, look at this stuff, man. Look at this stuff. Get back to me. Post stuff. I don't know, but there certainly is a lot of connecting dots. It's like I said, I feel like obviously I was looking a hell of a lot of this Epstein stuff. I was trying to talk about it in BSV way back. The day he killed himself, I called Captain Bitcoin and said, hey, man, make a show. No, I can't speak about that. I'll get my channel shut down. I'm supposed to be professional. We can't speak about conspiracy theories. Of course, every single ever channel, whether it's a cooking channel or whatever, we're all talking about Epstein because it's the big story of the day. And, you know, even just to get viewing count or whatever on a channel, talk about Epstein. My idea was to talk about how BSV could have stopped Epstein from killing himself by tracking what prisoners are doing and all this stuff, having their vital life signs on chain, having their movements on chain, maybe with a little bit of a delay, but you could have it all on chain. That was my idea, but it didn't happen until a few months later. And his channel got shut down because I think it was because Satoshi was trying to sell aloe vera as a cure for that virus, you know. So it's all strange how things work out in the end. But it's sad it got shut down, and I'm upset because I lost a load of my content. But you know, things happen for a reason, folks. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure I could go and drink a load of coffee and sit here reading all this stuff and come out with a lot more info. But you know, like, I thought it's more important just to start a live stream and just to throw this out here and try and get people who have got more time than me and people who are not as bored and stuff, fresh minds looking at this stuff. And of course, they're all saying that Craig's just invented this. And he's put Mr. Gareth Williams in there because he's dead and can't speak for himself. But this is all court stuff, folks. You've got to have a hell of an invented mind to do this. And there's always a risk that somebody could stand up and say something. And I don't know. It's just like I said, I don't know, especially after I've been censored on Twitch, to be honest. I don't know what's true and what's lies anymore. I don't know. You know, is this all are we all living in a computer simulation? I feel like it, to be honest. I'm like, my head's at the point of exploding. So if I'm found with a big hole in my head, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a new addition to the Hillary Clinton body count for throwing more dirt on her. It could actually mean that my brain just exploded because of all this this overflow. So don't worry, folks, if I'm found dead. So yeah, you know, I don't know if anyone wants to say anything in the troll box. I just thought I'd get it out there, you know, do an interesting BSV stream, because it's, you know, I'm sick of the circle jerk streams and the people just talking about, oh, well, what does your product do? Oh, it looks really good, your product. And how do you do this? Oh, that's really good. Well, one thing, you shouldn't really have to tell anybody how your product works if you've got a product on BSV, because most things, if they're going to be used by loads of people, should just be like you load the page up and you can see how it works. That's called a UX, user experience. If you really have to spend a lot of time explaining how to use your app, unless it's some really complicated app like I don't know, a payroll system or something for a business, then you shouldn't really have to explain a lot of time. Otherwise, it means your user interface sucks. It means your user experience sucks if it's complicated. It needs to be explained. So yeah, that's what we get. We get people circle jerking around apps and stuff, saying, "Oh wow, your app's great. Thanks for being on my show. What a special guest you are." No real questions, no real questioning. Well, who the hell is going to use your app, or what is it really useful for? And even if it's not that, there's no special guest on, then it's just circle jerking about the price and looking at the hash rate on coin dance and all this stuff, and calling every other coin a shit coin, and insulting Roger Ver, insulting Greg Maxwell, insulting Adam Back. Adam Back's actually, to me, he seems like a nice guy. Speaking to him doesn't mean I don't think that Blockstream and Reid Hoffman and Jeffrey Epstein, who Reid Hoffman went to his island, could have some fucking massive connection, and it could all be funded by pedo money. I don't know, you know. And probably, yeah, the most evil bastards probably do seem like nice guys. Who knows? But we spend too much time circle jerking, and our shows are all boring. Or we get people waffling on about philosophy and stuff like this. I don't know, to me it's kind of like boring. If I want to go and find out about philosophy, I'll just go and look at one of the greats from the past, maybe, instead of listening to some millennial telling me about philosophy. So yeah, doubt is the beginning of wisdom, says another cyborg ape. Ant-Man says, be careful, Jimmy, you might get a whipping by Marianne. Well, maybe I should be a bit more reckless, because I don't think that'd be so bad. Price is Wrong says, you only live once. This is not a dress rehearsal. And yeah, hello, Noel. Says hello to me. Has anyone's got any questions in the chat box, in the troll box? Otherwise, I guess, I don't know, I had it in my mind. There was some other stuff to talk about, but I don't know how deep I should go with this, how long I should carry on. Come on, somebody say something in the troll box. Or you guys all looking at these documents and you've got me on audio only. So yeah, Bitcoin needs to be, people, let's go and look at MetaNetGate a second. Made a funny video. Well, I didn't make it, I got it sent to me. I can't be doing everything at the same time. Thanks for the people supporting me and sending me tips and leads and stuff. Sending me, you know, Jimmy, I'm going to make this for you. It was great. I loved it. Exactly what I wanted. There was a bit of feedback. I said, can you take this out and put this in, because it was a bit too long and stuff, but it was a funny video. I hacked Streamanity today. I didn't. I'm going to post it once I finish this stream. I've actually got a message of thank you from Streamanity, which is how you're supposed to respond to a disclosure by somebody who's taken their time to reveal a flaw in your product. Whether they've done it responsible private disclosure or whether they've done it full public disclosure, especially somebody who puts their face behind it, their name behind it, you know. It's not like I'm a non-hacker with a cape. They actually sent me a message saying, thanks, Jimmy. So thanks for telling us this. We fixed it. So they fixed it. This was a Streamanity flaw where Streamanity only allow you to set $5 as the maximum charge for your video. Well, I worked it out, simple changing of the post, the HTTP post. I set the value so that my video was like $180,000 to watch my video. That's how it's supposed to work. It's not supposed to work with you then with somebody who reveals an exploit in your site or your product to you, and then you start threatening them. That's not how it works. Because if you threaten Jimmy, whether you're Joe DeLace or whether you're Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton, you don't scare me, because YOLO, you know, we all get judged at the end of the day, and this probably is just one big experiment. Yeah, one thing I will say, Michael Hudson. I think me and Trump, if Trump ever wants to do a show with me, because I know he's against Michael Hudson, but Michael Hudson's one of the very few people in BSV media, i.e. one of the few people with his face on the screen who I actually respect these days. Daniel Crouch is another one, of course, because he does interesting content, different content to everybody else. But Michael's like, even if he had nothing to do with Bitcoin, if he worked for a, I don't know, if he worked making cheese in a cheese factory, just the fact that he's a CEO, so he's associated with his company, who stood up and made all those videos about the Illuminati and teaching people about banking and stuff. It's like, that takes a bit of balls to do that, because, you know, especially if you're working in finance, because aren't all these financial people Illuminati guys, apparently? You know, it takes a lot of balls, but he didn't. That really got my attention on the guy. So I think Hudson's a good guy. Trump thinks that all this stuff's a load of nonsense. So I think it'd probably be a good show. Maybe me, Trump, and Hudson. I don't know. But you know, yeah, Trump's interesting because he's a guy who I imagine he's like most Bitcoin users. He's not great on technology, but why should you be? He's just like a regular guy, and I think that's why when he used to do the show with Satoshi and Shem way back in the day, they were popular, because it was a good mix. You had Satoshi, who, yeah, he does understand a lot of the economics. Fuck all about tech. You had Trump, who was like just the normal guy, funny guy, quite funny, watching him rage sometimes about people. And then you had Shem, who has the experience, I guess, of talking to people from his days on the Bitcoin, what's it called, the Bitcoin World Network or something. It's a good mix. I think they're all falling out of each other now. But yeah, I mean, whatever channel you watch about, well, I don't think it's just BSV, to be honest. I think it's most channels. They're all circle jerks about whatever their crypto is, or if it's a general cryptocurrency channel. It's all about pumping coins and stuff. You know, that's why they have to have their disclaimers. I don't put any disclaimers on my channel because I never talk about that stuff. YouTube are welcome to go through my content. I'm not shilling any coin. I'm not making people buy stuff. Yes, I don't need a fucking disclaimer. If a cryptocurrency channel has to have a disclaimer, then it's a fucking scam channel. It's a channel you shouldn't be watching. Yeah, because why would you have to make a disclaimer? Why? Because if somebody says, "Hey, I bought this coin because I don't know." Let's just use an example. Satoshi. I bought BSV because Satoshi told me that all the other coins were shit coins. I lost my house and all my money. I'm going to sue you, Satoshi. Well, Satoshi's got his disclaimer there, hasn't he? So you can't sue him. You won't get away with it. I haven't got a disclaimer, but you can't sue me because you haven't got a case, because I've not been telling you what to buy and what to do. I've been telling you to fucking think, yeah? You know, maybe I will get sued one day, because maybe I'll get sued for aiding and abetting crime, because it seems these days that thinking is a crime, yeah? So yeah, fuck it. I'm going all out on this one, yeah? I don't really give a shit anymore who I make enemies with. I don't get invited on shows. I don't care. If I don't get invited to the CoinGeek conference, I don't want to go anyway, because what am I going to be doing? In a real life circle jerk? Fuck that. Yeah. Too much circle jerking, too many people concerned about their bags, thinking like, I want to get rich, but even if it all works out and you've got your bags, look at the shit going on in the world these days, you know? What sort of future is it if you're a multi-millionaire, but you have to stay locked in your house because you're scared of some virus, or you're scared of going out on the streets and getting robbed and looted? Yeah. Whether, you know, there's probably, you know, what sort of life is that? It ain't about bags, folks. It ain't about money. It ain't about being rich. It's about trying to make a better world, and the only way we can do that is by calling out the bad guys, calling out the fuck ups, and looking for the truth, and looking to be free, you know. So I'll just go back into the troll box. Doubt is the beginning of wisdom. I think I might have said that. Tell us all, spill the beans. Well, I don't really know all, you know. I've just thrown out what I've been, what what messages I've just been sent, you know, what's happened today. It's all very breaking news, if you like. Well, certainly the first off, I've heard of it all and connected all these dots. So I don't really know. That's it. You've got drunk on hacks and power. Buy a V for Vendetta mask. What is this BIP 70? I heard about BTC getting rid of it. Okay. Well, the hacks in power. There was no hacking involved in the MetaNet thing. All public folders. Nothing to do with hacking whatsoever. And the today the Streamanity thing, I didn't hack anything either. I changed the value that I submitted on the website just by replaying it using curl and changing the value. Guys who work on websites know that you have if you have JavaScript on the front end to validate something, say, I don't know, is the age of the person greater than 18? You know, you put your date of birth in. If you're not older than 18, you can't click the continue button. But you've also got to realize on the server side, you have to check that value as well and not allow it because people can spoof values and send it without using your JavaScript to protect it. So that's why you need to do it. And well, Streamanity said they fixed it. I'm going to have a look later, but you know, that's not hacking either, really. Have I done hacking in my past? Yeah, but more than 10 years ago. So, you know, it's kind of like a statute of limitations, folks. And also when I was a young kid with my Amiga, Commodore Amiga, and my modem, I used to do Phone Freak and I used to try and hack the United States government, but that was when I was like less than 16 years old. I think statute of limitations applies. Also the fact that I was a kid applies. And I'm probably a child autist as well, so I can use the I'm an autist defense. I certainly haven't done anything like that in the last 10 years. People are welcome to investigate if they want. And as I said the other day, anything bad I do that upsets you, it's probably my autism. Anything good I do, it's me, of course. So, you know. Okay, this BTC BIP 70. Well, BIP 70 is it's kind of like a protocol that was used by BitPay to make it easier to for them to receive payments. And well, BTC are celebrating because they've taken it out of the code. It was disabled in the last release, but in this latest release, they've taken it out, and they're celebrating because I think it's fucked up BitPay, who have been like there since the early days. It's fucked up their business. So yeah, BTC tards, they're like the less businesses they have using their coin, the happier they seem to be, which is very stupid and only works for them if people think it's hodl gold or whatever and fuck you money, and they never realize that they need to have people using their chain to get the real value. So, you know, they're playing a very risky game because they could end up with a coin that just collapses to nothing. So yeah, okay, autist defense is the best defense. It sounds serious. I liked when some idiot called what you did a directory traversal attack, though. Yeah, also it's all about intent as well. If you see something, it's like a, oh yeah, it's like there's, I read it on the news. There was a, it's like this basically. There was a girl who was shot a few weeks ago. I think it was in Birmingham. I'm not sure, in England. And the police said, we realised that people were probably on the streets in their cars, and it was all about, you was probably breaking the law because the quarantine and stuff, you weren't supposed to be out, but we're not going to care about that. If anyone was around and they saw what happened, please tell us. It's a similar thing, you know. They eventually found out that it was an error. You know, they didn't mean to shoot her; they meant to shoot a business or somebody else near her. So it's all about intent. It's all about reasons. And as soon as I found that open folder, I announced it publicly. I could have been sitting there right now collecting documents and collecting IDs and not telling anybody and doing it all year, you know. But, you know, that would have been immoral, that would have been bad and dumb. And also people say, why didn't you tell him privately? But he would have just done a CH mod, that's a change mode on the folder and said, okay, Jimmy, I fixed it. But I've actually prevented a crime, because his crime, his main crime, where it all starts, is he was accepting documents without the valid legal reasons to do so. So he would have fixed it and carried on accepting documents, carried on breaking the law. So I've actually protected Joel in a way, because I've stopped him from getting himself into a big mess by having a history of processing thousands and thousands of documents with an invalid reason, which of course the reason was, I need your document to prove that you're not Greg Maxwell, which doesn't work with data protection laws. Okay. I uploaded a 90 megabyte video during Operation Data Blast, but now says timeout. Cost me a few dollars. Well, price is wrong. Go and post on Twitter or something. Post me the link. I'm guessing your data is still in the blockchain, but maybe, I don't know, is it? I'm guessing you're looking on somewhere like Bico Media. Maybe they do not store all historic data. Maybe, you know, maybe they are pruning quite a bit, because the blockchain's getting bigger and bigger. This whole thing about I feel kind of like responsible in a way for going along with it. So I didn't really want to get involved in arguments at the time, but there is the whole pruning of data stuff, and you know, this whole, why the hell, apart from to circle jerk and to virtually masturbate, would you put a big video of yourself on the blockchain? Unless maybe to be the first person to do it, but selling it to people as worthwhile, a video of yourself, that's not, I don't think that's the sort of data to put on the blockchain. There's a guy called Rothbard's disciple who made a really good article that kicks down BTC, kicks down Bcash, and kicks down Bitcoin, as in BSV, all at the same time. It attacks all three coins. It certainly, I'm not saying the whole article's true. I'm not saying that I agree with all of it, but it's certainly interesting seeing a person do that. He's a very smart guy. I used to follow him when he made videos. Let me find the link for his article so you can look at it later. I'll post it in the troll box. Here we go, The Great Promise. If I was going to read this article to you guys right now, it'd probably take me 24 hours. It is a massive article. I forgot about reading it all, but it's a massive article, so you really do. If you're reading it, you probably need to read it over a few days, so read it in a few parts. It's too much information in one article. It's too big, but I can't imagine how long it took the guy to write it. So there it is. Go and have a look at that later. It attacks all three Bitcoins, and it's from the point of view, I don't know what coin he's with. I don't think it's with any coin. I think it's somebody who's just looking for truth and looking for honesty and stuff. Like I am. I really respect the guy for writing that article, because you can't accuse him of being a Bcasher, you can't accuse him of being a BTC tard. So right, we're coming up to an hour now. Get investigating, folks. Go and have a look at this Gareth Williams. Go and look at the Clintons and the Russians. I mean, I've known about the Clintons and the Russians. A lot of people don't. And you've got to be careful, because there's a hell of a lot of misinformation out there, folks. But there is a lot of stuff, and it's all, you know, this whole year, this, you know, the world is so screwed up right now, and certainly weird. Seems to be like two factions in the United States within the police, not let alone within the community. Within the police, there seems to be the police who want to escalate the violence. Maybe they're being paid to do so. Maybe the police are Antifa, I don't know, but there's so much stuff going on, and I feel we're getting to a point where we don't have enough time to study old history, because there's so much new history being made and so many new scandals happening that, you know, it's why I stopped looking at 9/11, because, you know, you could just it led you on to too many other things, and some things you'd be wasting your time on, and maybe some things you wouldn't. But you know, I moved out of the conspiracies, and then this Craig White, Satoshi Nakamoto was a conspiracy that I had to be involved in because it was in my Bitcoin, you know. Then I kind of like worked it out, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Providing we own it. I mean, if it is found out he's fake Toshi, BSV has to own it. And by that, I mean, you say you're not moving those fucking coins. If you move those coins and if you confiscate those coins without having the keys, okay, you prove yourself in, if you are Satoshi, prove yourself in a court of law first that you are. And if you don't, that doesn't mean you can just because you are the guy everyone looks to on BSV that you can come on and say, look, well, I'm taking the coins because I am Satoshi. Because I will certainly be against that, and I'll be up for a hard fork. Just need to find a new daddy Calvin, or maybe Calvin will be up for a hard fork as well. I don't know, because I think Calvin's kind of like, I don't know what's going on there. I think Calvin must be pissed off with the way some people are acting. Certainly not me, because I'm just little Jimmy Lose who really hasn't got that many followers and that many people. But some of the big guys, Calvin must be aware the Joel thing. The GCHQ stuff reminds me of that one time Craig went to South America and joined some extra judicial death squads to go kill some human traffickers. This whole human trafficking thing, Clintons, child trafficking, Clintons, Haiti. Wow, it's a big mess, folks. It's a big mess. Trafficking of cocaine. The boy's dead on the railway line. I think it all started with that death, but there's a hell of a lot of body count. Vince Foster. Well, I really hoped that I wouldn't have to look into the Clintons again. It's just enough for me to listen to a bit of Sean Atwood speaking about Epstein and the Clintons. But you know, this whole thing it's gotten into my Bitcoin. Fuck. You know, this is why I want to get the news out there, so we can get these fuckers out of our Bitcoin. If that means emergency actions, we do emergency actions. But I hope that Craig is Satoshi. If you ask me now, maybe I'm 75% that Craig is Satoshi. Or maybe I just don't care anymore. I don't know. It certainly led me to believe that I can understand why his story's been changing and why he looks like, apparently from the outside, it looks like he's been owned this year in court. But maybe the surprise is yet to come. But we'll see. All right. Anybody else with comments, or shall I end the live stream now and use you guys to go and start investigating all of this stuff? But please don't connect it to the flat earth, because you're just going to make us look more ridiculous than we already look. Okay, still Unchained, but don't know how to view it anymore. Well, this is the thing. If it's still Unchained, then you can't find a website that provides a proxy between you and the you're going to have to, but you need to set it up as a manually. Oh, it's just said my connection's unstable. I guess the NSA are on to me now. Yeah, you can run a full node to get your data, or you can do a pruning node. But what you have to do is set the value to, I think it's 1 or -1 or 0. And what that means is it won't prune automatically. Normally with a pruning node, what you do is you say, I don't know, value 1000. And what that means is, as it's downloading the chain, it only keeps the last 1000 megabytes of information on your disk, you know, on your computer. So it doesn't occupy that much disk space. That's great if you just want to download a prune node, catch up to the latest block, and start receiving transactions or using it to send transactions. Obviously, you don't have the transaction history. But if you want to, you must know what your transaction is So you must know what block or what blocks your transaction is part of. By that I mean, no, your file, it could be various, obviously it's various transactions. So these transactions could, they probably are in the same block, but they could in theory be in 2 different blocks, or 3 or 4 different blocks. So what you'd have to do, this is how I would do it. And it involves a little bit of coding, but you know, I would set up the Bitcoin to sync up. There's 2 ways of doing it really. You can do it as a prune node, 1,000 megabytes, but only as soon as it gets to the block after the block that contains the last transaction, you need to stop that node. And then there it is. It will be there. Those last few blocks, you can access your transactions, join up the op return data, and there it is, your video or whatever you uploaded. Or you need a big disk for this. You set up a full node, you download it all up to current date or up to just after it loaded. And then what you can do is you could download it all, set the pruning to I think it's -1. It's -1, it's 0, or it's 1. If it's less than, I think it's 510, it normally gives you an error saying you've got to use a big amount for 510, but 1 is a special value, which means manual pruning. So it doesn't prune anything unless you use the RPC interface to prune specific blocks. So you download it all, and then you go and hit the RPC interface saying prune block 1, prune block 2, prune block 3, prune block 4, all the way up to the block just before the first block that has your transaction. Skip the blocks that have your transaction in them, with your transactions in them, and then keep pruning up to the current day, and you'll have the smallest possible node that has your full data, so it'll keep the full blocks that have your transactions. That's the way I would do it. I admit it's all totally very complicated for somebody just to go and look at a video that they uploaded. So maybe go and have a look around, go and see if you can find another site. I know BK Media is a normal port of call, but I don't know what's going on. Maybe they just don't do old blocks. I don't know. Maybe you're just unlucky. Maybe you try again later, it might be there. Or you can go and reach out to somebody who's running a full node. I'm not running a full node right now. And say, hey, can you send me this book? But I mean, I'm guessing if you uploaded a video, you probably already do have the file. You just want to check that it's there. But if you don't have the file, then you can probably go and pay somebody $5 in BSV to say, please can you recover my file from the blockchain? Because it's going to be there. Some node's going to have it. But of course, this gets problematic the longer it all goes on, and if everybody prunes. So, you know, this is a whole nother discussion. Another option, a really killer option, is going write a utility to go and do it. So you need to bootstrap to the network. You need to act like a node, basically. You need to bootstrap to the network. Go and download all the block headers. So you've got the history of the block headers. Receive some input about what blocks you want to download. And go off using the P2P protocol and go and get those blocks. Go and request those blocks from the nodes. There's probably another way as well. From I think Blockshare, doesn't Blockshare allow you to download the raw block? You can probably find a website somewhere, Block Explorer, that allows you to download the raw block. So you know, all you need to do is download those blocks, the data for those blocks. But yeah, it's somebody. We've always said for a while that there is going to be a cost to retrieve data from the blockchain, especially old data, which that article I linked to a while ago, that The Great Promise by Rothbard's disciple, that speaks about that. It speaks about, well, how does this all work, about the costs and stuff. It compares the costs. It says it doesn't make sense. I don't know. Certainly for small documents or for hashes, yeah, on-chain makes sense, but to have a video of your cat on chain, I don't think it's going to make a lot of sense. So I hope I explained the various ways that you can go and get your data off the blockchain. You see, I'm not just a troublemaker or conspiracy freak. I do know my my Bitcoin tech, and yeah, if anyone else has any Bitcoin questions, throw them in the box. I might have to change the video description to say Bitcoin tech Q&A as well, but just so people know that you know, Jimmy, all you do is attack Bitcoin. You're just a drama. No, I'm not. I've lost all my videos where I was helping people with tech when the Bitcoin S3 channel went down, but that's what I do. I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd who happens to find myself involved in this fucking conspiracy because I'm a nerd who likes truth, I guess. I'm not a nerd who's connected to Enchain, who's connected to Blockstream, who's connected to any of these companies. So I'm allowed to talk. I've not got no NDA with anybody. I can talk about what I like. I can say that, you know, this is bad if somebody wants to get the data and there's no easy way of doing it. If Beacon Media doesn't work for them. But these things are going to be fixed, I guess. What would be worse is where people don't want you getting their data and it's all there on a public server, on a public folder. So that's it, I'm guessing. I don't see any other questions. Ask me anything. Ask me what I ate today if you want. Let's go and have a look on Telegram, see if anyone's talking on there. I'm going to have a look. Oh, my computer's all freezing up. Probably been hacked by the Clintons. Oh, we've got a bit of chat in my favourite chat room. Someone's actually saying, okay, I'm going to have to stop the stream because somebody's attacking me. So I was going to see, attacking me with a thing saying, I have to have a look. Okay, well, that was it. I'm sorry if you're just a guy who's into the Epstein thing and you watch this video and you don't understand any of this Bitcoin stuff. Likewise, I'm sorry if you're a Bitcoiner and you found this tech stuff and you don't really understand all this Epstein stuff. It's a bit of a mix today, which I think any good show should be. It's certainly original. So yeah, Jimmy and Lewis signing off now. See you, Hillary. See you, Bill. Yeah, let's go and find out what happened to this poor guy in a bag and if he was Satoshi Nakamoto or was part of Team Satoshi, which is the Satoshi Nakamoto. Who knows? I'll try and keep you all updated. Thanks for everyone for watching. See ya. No, I'm coming back. Jimmy and Lewis at moneybutton.com. Hit like, hit subscribe, and go out there and try and hit yourself up on some truth. And don't go out looting and causing disturbances. The world is in too much of a crazy state. Cheers, everybody. Bye.